11. Additionally, LA County offers free meals at certain parks. There are meals and snacks for kids and seniors. Visit parks.lacounty.gov to find out which centers are offering which programs and to register in advance. And in addition to offering 2 free meals per day for all students, the LA Unified School District provides weekend meal kits for its students by request. The meal kits can be picked up on Fridays at grab-and-go locations. Please visit lausd.org/Cafe LA. That's lausd.org/CAFELA. We keep us safe. We keep us provided for. We keep us connected. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Protesting anthems, yes, we chanting a movement of people. It's like we dancing to the ministry of, it's the energy of, in memory of them that we love. The trinity of the people, the peace, the power, the truth. We speak the powers even louder. We can say it blacker, we can say it prouder. A woman vice president that went to Howard. Now we talk helping black businesses, and our differences is magnificent. Bringing light to the poor where the prisons is. I was so good like this where forgiveness lives. The ascension is to leave what's left behind and feed the seeds with deeds that bless the mind, caress the mind, and question justify. With you and God in time, my best align.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine, flies, be patient, cause good things happen in time. We gon' get it right, we gon' get it right, we gon' get it right. We gon' get it right.
How can I be a better father, son, a better grandson, honoring Fannie Lou's and the Fred Hamptons, the Harriets, the chariots that carry us to various areas that marry us to progress. Yeah, we the harvest, the lovely days and midnight marauders, even through charges and days of darkness. No, we in the hands of the greatest artists. I see it in the waters, I see it in our daughters. They could be bridges that know no borders. For so long, them folks try to ignore us. So we got the ballot boxes to vote for us. Peace to Stacey and the people of Georgia, who galvanize so that we can move forward. Steps are ordered with the presence of mind. Everything's more beautiful in time.
Shine, flies, no time to waste while it's passing you by. Shine,
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm your host and White House correspondent, Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, reporting for duty. I'm in touch until you be in touch. Please follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and there I am, fresh for you to follow. Also, be sure to download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or just tell Alexa to play KBLA Talk 1580. And there we are for your listening pleasure. Last but not least, subscribe to A More Perfect Union podcast to keep up with every episode. Now, I've also got to remind you to mark your calendars for November 6th. November 6th, November 6th, November 6th. They say if you say it multiple times, people will remember it. And so on November 6th, join us for the Altadena Town Hall meeting, Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund, to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility, clarity on the claims process, the clarity that you need. KBLA Talk 1580, we've teamed up with the Black Freedom Fund, and it's going down Thursday, November 6th from 4 to 6 p.m. right in this time slot at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena. It's 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. It's going to be some important conversations. There's going to be some important leaders on the front lines of this. Very familiar names to the folks in the Altadena community. Brandon Lamar, who is the president of the NAACP chapter in Pasadena. He'll be joined with Martin Gordon, Tony Bailey Rains, Zaire Calvin, Dr. Eshel Williams, Dr. William Sims, Jackie Robinson, Baisley, James Farr, our very own James Farr, and it will be moderated by Tavis Smiley and myself. And so really looking forward to this. This is important stuff. And so be there or be square. All right. Now it's time for your national news roundup. It's time for you to decide the good, the bad, and the ugly headlines on this Halloween Eve. Kicking us off, Democrats are hoping for a shot in the arm in New Jersey and Virginia after some pretty significant losses in 2024. NBC News is reporting that for Democrats like Leslie Frucht, I think I got that right, President Donald Trump's victory in 2024 was demoralizing. But Democrats are hoping that this year's gubernatorial contest in New Jersey, in Virginia, fire up their supporters, not just in those states, but also across the country as they look to move on from a brutal 2024 campaign cycle in which they lost the White House and the Senate. And as polls show, the party remains broadly unpopular. National Democrats have viewed the contest in New Jersey and Virginia as key tests for their message on economic issues, a point of emphasis voters said were sorely lacking from the party last year. Abigail Spanberger and Mickey Sherrill have done just that, building out campaigns focused on lowering the cost of living. But they both face a delicate balancing act on a host of other hot button issues. And if given the Democratic Party fits in recent election cycles, including transgender rights and immigration, with just days to go before the election, polls show that Spanberger, with a consistent lead in Virginia over GOP Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears, while surveys show the race in New Jersey between Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli remain awfully close, too close for comfort. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that later with our guests. But moving along, the Assembly of God Church. NBC News is reporting exclusively that the Assemblies of God churches, they shielded accused predators and allowed them to keep abusing children. A children's pastor was caught filming girls in a church bathroom in Arkansas. You know what happened? Elders suspended him for a few weeks. And in Illinois, a preacher was accused of sexually abusing children. Church leaders, you know what they did? They sent him to therapy rather than call police. And in California, a worship minister went to prison for molesting boys. His congregation threw him a party when he returned. All of these men remained in ministry in the Assembly of God, the world's largest Pentecostal denomination, and all went on to abuse more children. Since the 1970s, Assemblies of God churches have repeatedly reinstated ministers and volunteer leaders accused of sexual misconduct, returning them to pulpits and youth groups. That's according to this new NBC News investigation. Now, while some of the other largest Christian denominations now require safeguards such as background checks and mandatory reporting, National Assemblies of God leaders have resisted, arguing that such rules would increase legal risk, undermine its commitment to local church autonomy, and defy a core biblical command to forgive. The result is a patchwork system that has protected accused predators and has left generations of children in danger. And so NBC News, they identified nearly 200 Assemblies of God pastors, church employees, volunteer leaders accused of sexual abuse over the past half century, all based on a nationwide search of lawsuits, criminal records, and news archives. Together, they allegedly abused, get this, more than 475 people, the overwhelming majority of them children. The allegations stretch into this year when a 10-year-old girl said in the lawsuit that her pastor groped her during Bible study. And so for more information on this, I encourage you to go to NBCnews.com. But this is another searing reminder that the kids are not all right. And yeah, this is a story coming out of NBC, focused on Assembly of God churches. But to me, the story is so much bigger than that. It's about institutions that protect these predators. And so this is a reminder that if you see something, by all means, say something. In other news, USA Today is reporting that Trump has turned nuclear weapons world upside down during a high-stakes Asia trip. When it comes to nuclear weapons strategy, stability is the goal. But President Trump's back-to-back announcements about nuclear testing and nuclear submarines on October 29th during his trip to South Korea would turn the nuclear weapons world upside down. Now, although it's unclear what Trump meant when he ordered that the Pentagon resume nuclear weapons tests immediately, nuclear weapons experts and foreign governments alike, they reacted with shock. The move could end a nearly 3-decade period during which none of the world's major nuclear powers have detonated a nuclear weapon. Trump's earlier announcement of a joint nuclear submarine program with South Korea, now overshadowed by his remarks on nuclear testing, could also drastically alter the nuclear weapons balance over time by giving Seoul, South Korea, the ability to quietly prepare a bomb program of its own. We will absolutely keep our eye on that, as we keep our eye on so many things. But when we come forward, just before we went on air, there's some news that broke, reported by the Associated Press. The Justice Department is investigating whether leaders in the Black Lives Matter movement defrauded donors who contributed tens of millions of dollars during racial justice protests in 2020. We're going to get civil rights attorney Todd Belcour's reaction to that and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
On Thursday evening, November 6th, you're invited to the next KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Town Hall meeting. This time, we're convening at Victory Bible Church, 1497 North Hill Avenue in Pasadena. The town hall will once again be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580 from 4 to 6 p.m. on Thursday, November 6th. But you're invited to join us in person for this urgent and necessary community conversation. The theme for this Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire Town Hall is Understanding the Wildfire Recovery Compensation Fund. The primary focus of this gathering is to inform residents about Southern California Edison's newly launched Wildfire Recovery Compensation Program and provide clarity on eligibility and the claims process. There are plenty of questions to be asked, and only KBLA Talk 1580 has the right moderators to ask the tough questions, the right stakeholders and community activists to share their insights, and we have confirmed the participation of corporate executives from Southern California Edison to answer our queries. So be sure to join us at Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, 1497 North Hill Avenue on Thursday, November 6th. The event is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. That's KBLA1580.com. Light refreshments will be served immediately following the live town hall. This KBLA Talk 1580 Altadena Rising Town Hall is brought to you by the Black Freedom Fund.
Hit me!
National news, the consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and we're now joined by Todd Belcourt. He's the Executive Director of Social Change. He's also a civil rights attorney, and he's no stranger here. He's a frequent contributor here on A More Perfect Union. Todd, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for the opportunity to join you, Doctor.
Well, thank you for being here. Just before we went on air, as I mentioned, the Associated Press reporting that the Justice Department is investigating fraud allegations in the Black Lives Matter movement. For folks who are unfamiliar with this, the Justice Department, they're investigating whether or not the Black Lives Matter movement defrauded donors who contributed tens of millions of dollars during racial justice protests back in 2020. Folks might know that in recent weeks, federal law enforcement officials have issued subpoenas. They've served at least one search warrant as a part of the investigation into the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation Incorporated and other Black-led organizations that help spark this national reckoning on systemic racism. It's not clear if the investigation would result in criminal charges, but as you know, the fact that there's any investigation that exists invites fresh scrutiny into the movement. Todd, how much of this should we be taking seriously? Is this COINTELPRO 2.0? Door number one. Door number two, is this an overzealous sort of MAGA influenced prosecutor currying favor with the Trump administration? Or door number three, is this all of the above?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's all of the above. This is code red. This is an example where our current president, the most powerful person in the universe, is spending taxpayer dollars to turn once respected governmental departments into his henchmen. And in this case, he's directed them directly at organizations that fought for freedom, fought for liberty, fought against discrimination. You don't see any charges or any consideration of investigating organizations like the Heritage Foundation or the American Enterprise Institute or anything that aligns himself with him politically or even in terms of politics more broadly, ideologically. So this is clearly an example of the weaponizing of government and the way in which the cronyism that's been part and parcel to the way in which this president is governed is being exacted against organizations that are just fighting for our basic rights.
So, I mentioned earlier sort of the comparison to COINTELPRO, a deliberate attempt by the Department of Justice and other parties to discredit Black leaders and Black-led organizations. Let's talk about the politics of this. We know that we have an election coming up next week. We have an even bigger election, the midterm election in 2026 coming up. We know that when Black folks show up at the polls, that democracy wins. Democracy wins. And we also know that this administration, has autocratic tendencies, and that's putting it politely. How much of this is setting the stage for 2026 and severely sort of disrupting the funding, disrupting the organizing efforts of Black-led organizations and Black activists with credibility to move Black people towards freedom.
You're right. This is twofold. This is not just about dismantling organizations that are fighting for human rights, basic rights, or everyday rights. This is also about making sure there's a clear pathway to making sure more people who support his agenda are elected, to make sure fewer people vote, to make sure getting out the vote is something that's done only for a particular subsect of the population. And this is why things like remapping and redistricting in North Carolina and Texas are so dangerous, because not only are they taking steps in the administration side to make sure that their only choice are the choices that people that they have already blessed, but also they're making real strides in making sure the organizations that get out the vote of all people, not particular kinds of people, but all people, are now no longer able to do so. So now not only are they choosing the elected officials that you can choose from, they're actually also choosing the voters who get to vote. So when you start having all those things come together, that's as dangerous a cocktail as you can ever imagine. It's certainly not democracy.
It is not democracy, and you know a whole lot about that as a civil rights attorney, as someone who's on the ground in Chicago right now, having to navigate the influx of federalized law enforcement, ICE snatching people out of their homes and off of the streets. What's the state of play right now on the ground in Chicago?
Panic, terror. I mean, those are words that I don't use lightly either. I mean, we have a president who's proven that he's comfortable desecrating the Constitution, and has gone so far as to not only avoid funding things like making sure people have food on the table and making sure people have health care, to funding a private military, otherwise known as our own ICE, as our own national government, our National Guard, to wage war not on Ukraine or the Middle East, but against Americans, against residents. People right here in the South Side of Chicago, only known South Side of Chicago for generations, are now looking around, looking over their shoulder and nervous about the very same military units that we spend our tax dollars to make sure are trained and ready for war. So it's the kind of level of craziness that we're living in right now, but unfortunately that's our reality. And as we deal with that and try to organize around it, we need to make sure people not only know their rights, but also that we fight and push back and bring more attention to how much this actually represents defiling the Constitution, the way in which he's gone around to get the funding for this stuff, and all the other things that are being done and fought out in court as we speak, to make sure that more people not only are aware of this, but everything is done to fight back against it.
Speaking of the court, speaking of panic, there are a number of folks who have been panicked, not just by the ICE raids and the mass deportation efforts that we certainly haven't seen the likes of in this country before, certainly not our generation. But on top of that, we know that costs are going up for everyday people. And now 42 million Americans will lose their SNAP benefits if this federal government shutdown does not end. There is no end in sight. Washington Post reporting that a federal judge today indicated that she would probably order the Trump administration to use reserves to partially fund food assistance for about 42 million Americans, potentially delaying a complete cutoff in benefits during the government shutdown. What do you make of this, that a federal judge would probably order the Trump administration to use reserves to partially fund food assistance?
It just kind of shows where we're at. The fact that we require the judiciary to tell the government to feed its residents, its citizens, its residents, is beyond the pale. At the end of the day, this is partially why the president, even amongst his own party, there's a 50% increase in the number of people who don't approve of the way he's handling government. So when you consider that lack of approval, that means he has to do even more to circumvent the democratic system, the constitutionally embedded systems in place to make sure power is checked. So taking advantage of the shutdown to deprive the Congress of money and deprive the community of food, and also still fund war against its own residents is just kind of the chaos that we're all trying to navigate. But for the judge to say maybe, that is also a little heartbreaking as well, because at this point, if this is an emergency, I don't know what is. And they have emergency funds set aside, embedded in the budgets, and as an existing pot of money for situations just like this. It's not necessarily unprecedented either. I mean, when they had the shutdown in 2018 to 2019, these funds were already accessed, and not only accessed, they were accessed by Trump officials for this particular purpose. So this is not something new to the Trump presidency or even the leadership in the Trump administration, but right now is being weaponized differently because there's more money on the table for insurance companies and other interests, and it's more important to them to make sure they're paying attention to the special interests than to make sure there's food on the table for Americans. And that's why so many people need to be made aware that not only this decision is being made, but the real life impact it's going to make on everyday people's lives.
This is a really important point that you're making. And, just earlier today, I was watching a clip from Sonny Hostin on The View, who was making the point that Republicans could end this crisis on their own. While they keep saying, oh, you need the governments to pass, a CR that also funds SNAP program, to your point, there's contingency funds that are available to cover SNAP payments right now.
Right.
The Republicans are opting not to tap into those contingency funds right now. And that is a part of what is creating this panic. Any predictions on how this is going to end? Is this judge going to come through, and will our fellow Americans be able to enjoy a Thanksgiving holiday with food and dignity?
Well, two things. The judge is going to have to come through, but even if the judge comes through, the pot of money available is not nearly enough for the $9 billion a month it takes to actually provide full SNAP benefits to all the people eligible for the rest of the month. So what I anticipate happening is the judge will require that, but that'll only be a small portion of what's necessary, about half. And then the president himself will provide some sort of executive funding or some access to funding that isn't actually even available to him, so he can get credit for the remainder. So you can have you can thank Trump for your Thanksgiving, all the things that we should already be expecting and allotted. He's held it hostage, and then at the last minute, he's going to come in and say, well, I'm going to provide cash assistance or some sort of allotment of funds for Thanksgiving so people can kind of get through these winter months and have some holidays they can enjoy. And it's going to come from a pot of money that's undescribed and not accounted for, but also purely attached to him so he can get full credit for something, despite him being solely responsible for depriving people and causing this panic in the first place.
Our thanks to Todd Belcour for helping to keep it real, helping us to separate the fact from the fiction. When we come forward, we'll be joined with Joe Madison Gray. He's the executive editor of the New York Amsterdam News. So many eyes on New York City. We are less than a week away from that election. That is a proxy for the things that ail the Democratic Party, for the things that ail the opposition to the status quo at the moment. We're going to get Joe Madison Gray's take on that and more when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you, sir.
The audience is listening. Thought-provoking, eye-opening, heart-rendering. This is where authentic voices meet powerful discussions on culture, community, and change. This is where Black voices matter. He's breaking boundaries, amplifying diverse perspectives, and tackling the issues that matter most to you. You're inside A More Perfect Union with Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. A Black Detroit cop went viral after appearing pantless in virtual court. Judge Sean Perkins was visibly shocked as Officer Matthew Jackson quickly adjusted his camera.
Officer Jackson, badge number 3919, out of the 12th precinct.
All right, you got some pants on, officer?
The department later reminded officers to dress appropriately even for virtual hearings. A Chicago restaurant and Evanston's Cricket Club are teaming up to raise funds for Jamaicans hit by Hurricane Melissa. The Jerky Jerk North fundraiser is set for November 22nd, with details coming soon. And rapper 50 Cent is trolling actor Lil Meech online after Starz canceled BMF. He posted a photo of Lil Meech holding an out-of-work sign, joking, quote, "What next season?" end quote. The show, based on Big Meech's life, was produced by 50 Cent, though their relationship soured last year. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Tough in Toluca Lake. This is a crash on the 134 westbound before Cahuenga. Carpool, 2 left lanes coned off. That drive is a crawl away from Riverside Drive. Now, beyond the scene of the crash, the drive's okay moving to the 170 101. And then the 101 northbound delays out of Sherman Oaks from Woodman all the way to White Oak and Encino. It sure is slow on the 210 eastbound in Pasadena from Mountain and stretches to Citrus. More slowing right around the 57 to Foothill and in Upland from Baseline to the 15 freeway. But that 10 eastbound pretty tough all the way out of Boyle Heights, leaving the 5. Delays and stretches all the way into Redlands.
Compassion sponsorship means food, healthcare, education, and more for a child in poverty. And there are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers arrived in Toronto early Thursday morning after an overnight flight from LA. They need some extra time in Toronto for batting practice to prepare for Game 6 Friday night. The Dodgers are batting only .201 as a team against the Blue Jays in the World Series. The Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead. The NBA Board of Governors gave unanimous approval to Dodgers owner Mark Walter to become the new owner of the Lakers. Walter is buying the Lakers from the Buss family for $10 billion, the highest purchase price for a sports franchise in U.S. history. Walter paid $2.15 billion for the Dodgers in 2012. According to Forbes magazine, the Dodgers are now valued at $6.8 billion. The Rose Bowl and the city of Pasadena are suing UCLA to keep the school from moving its football games to SoFi Stadium in Inglewood. UCLA has not announced they are moving, but somebody is having some conversations somewhere. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, standing with you in perilous times. If you've been impacted by the federal government shutdown or the discontinuation of SNAP benefits, you can find a food bank near you that's offering free groceries by going to lafoodbank.org or call 211. Additionally, LA County offers free meals at certain parks. There are meals and snacks for kids and seniors. Visit parks.lacounty.gov to find out which centers are offering which programs and to register in advance. And in addition to offering 2 free meals per day for all students, the LA Unified School District provides weekend meal kits for its students by request. The meal kits can be picked up on Fridays at grab-and-go locations. Please visit lausd.org/Cafe LA. That's lausd.org/CAFELA. We keep us safe. We keep us provided for. We keep us connected. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Our communities have been through too much to let our voices be erased now. Prop 50 is how we push back against the rigged maps, the rising costs, and the attacks on our healthcare and our rights. I'm Senator Lola Smallwood Cuevas. Join me in voting yes on Prop 50. Because we deserve to choose who speaks for us. Ad paid for by California for All of Us, supporting Prop 50. McKenna Ballot Measure Committee. Ad Committee's top funder. Faith votes yes on 50. Sponsored by LA Voice Action and Progressive Era Issues Committee, supporting yes on 50.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr.
publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on a digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Now back to building a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to welcome my friend, my brother, my colleague, Madison Gray. He's the executive editor of the New York Amsterdam News. And there is so much happening in the Big Apple. In fact, I would argue that the Big Apple is going to be a big inflection point in this election cycle. It will be a big indication of whether or not Democrats are tracking in the right direction or whether or not Democrats are still in the wilderness. Madison, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Well, you know how they say, Nii-Quartelai, that New York is the city that never sleeps. Right now, we're not even blinking. It's really something out here. I've never seen the political atmosphere like this out here. It's different. It's different than we thought it would be just a year ago. And we have three candidates out there vying to replace Eric Adams, the current mayor, who decided not to continue his run for mayor. So we are going to know next week, this time next week, as a matter of fact, Tuesday, who will be leading New York into the future, into the 2030s. And it's a very interesting race. We have Curtis Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels, as the Republican candidate. He's run once before, did not win. We have former Governor Andrew Cuomo, who shepherded us through the COVID crisis, but also has been accused of things like sexual harassment and a scandal in which many people in senior citizens' homes died of COVID because of mismanagement. And we have Zohran Mamdani, who many did not know much about. He's a state assemblyman from Queens, who surprised everyone in the primary by overtaking Cuomo, who was the favorite candidate of a lot of people. He came in with a lot of basic agendas about affordability, about city-owned grocery stores in certain places, and about even making bus rides free. That resounded with a lot of younger people around town, and he became the favorite, and he's still leading in the polls right now.
He is, and part of what is strange to me are all of the strange bedfellows that seem to be supporting Andrew Cuomo. I was just reading recently that the sitting mayor, Eric Adams, is tinkering with the Rent Stabilization Board, or whatever the equivalent is in New York, in an effort to scuttle, Mamdani's potential ability to be able to deliver for his supporters in terms of freezing the rent or doing anything to mitigate the rising costs of rent. We're also seeing the former mayor of New York, Mayor Bloomberg, throwing $1.5 million to a super PAC supporting Andrew Cuomo. And so what's going on right now? It looks like the powerful are caping for Cuomo, while the Democrats seem to be proclaiming a message of supporting the powerless. What's happening?
There has been a push-pull for a while in this race. Mamdani, for a lot of people, is uncharted territory. They don't know him. He really does not have a lot of political experience, not like Cuomo does. Cuomo goes back. He comes from a political family. He had initially suspended his campaign after losing in the primary. Then he decided to come back and run again as an independent. There were people who mistrusted Mamdani for various reasons, lack of experience. They didn't like some of his plans. They saw Cuomo as the safer candidate, but that has a lot to do with the American political environment as well. There are a lot of people, the wealthy and powerful, who do not want to see Mamdani in there because he is a Democratic socialist. He's running on the Democratic ticket, but he is a Democratic socialist. And the word socialism just rings with people so badly and everything that they don't want to see anybody like that in office. There are a lot of people who feel that he would just cause the city to go bankrupt. There's no real evidence of that and everything. There are a lot of wealthy people, billionaires, who feel that what they've invested in the city will be diminished by having socialist programs here. Because when they hear socialism, they hear communism. That's an entirely different discussion. There's a lot of Islamophobia. Mamdani is Muslim, and he was born in Uganda. So there are people who still have a quite a bit of bigotry, frankly, toward Muslims. Some that goes back as far as 9/11 regarding that. To be honest, Cuomo has been accused of trying to capitalize on that bigotry. Going on radio shows, for example, with conservative talk show hosts and everything, who make Islamophobic statements and everything, and him not pushing back against it, things like that. So you have a dynamic where you have a known candidate where some want to keep him in this safe place and everything out of fear of Mamdani, but on the other hand, Mamdani is riding this youthful wave of progressives, of people who want to see something change. One of his main items is affordability. I don't think it's any secret to you guys in LA that New York is not affordable to the average person anymore. And he has been saying for the longest, we need to do more to make this place affordable, and that really resonates with a lot of people, especially young people who are paying $3,500, $4,000 rents for one bedroom in Manhattan. That's really not sustainable. So they want to see something different. They didn't see that promise from Sliwa or Cuomo.
And I think it's really important, just to put a finer point on it, that it's very telling that the rich and powerful, both Republican, Democrat, and independents, seem to be lining up behind Cuomo. CNBC reporting that Bill Ackman, Ronald Lauder, William Lauder, Barry Diller, Dan Loeb, they've all made large donations, as well as several non-New Yorkers like Steve Wynn and Alice Walton, right? And so in my view, part of what this is communicating is the challenge that the Democratic Party has. There are a lot of folks who may call themselves Democrats, but when it comes down to it, they're supporting, somebody that is more about the status quo than anything else. When it comes down to it, these folks, don't want anybody telling them that they can't charge whatever they want to charge when it comes to rent. And they don't want anybody, employing any more taxes on them than they're willing to pay or willing to give in charity. And so this is, are Democrats going to talk the talk and walk the walk, or are they just going to talk the talk? To me, that's in part what this election in New York is about. No?
Well, there has been a Democratic establishment here for a long time. New York has been electing Democrats for the last few mayors. I guess Bloomberg would have been an exception, and of course Giuliani and everything. But there's been a lot of Democratic mayors over the last couple of generations, and there's been an establishment of how they feel things are supposed to be done here. And it does seem to leave the wealthy and powerful, be they Democratic or Republican, in one particular place where they can sort of make the rules. But now you have this young 34-year-old person from Queens who lives with his wife in an apartment in Long Island City, saying something completely different. Saying something like, "Let's tax the rich about 2% more, so we can raise money for certain things." Better programs, housing, things like that. There are a lot of people in the establishment that don't want to hear that. Now, that's not everybody. There are a lot of people who clearly say, "Listen, I'm a millionaire. 2% is not gonna hurt me." But a lot of other people are saying that, well, this may lead to many other things that we don't want to hear, higher taxes, fewer services for us, things like that. So it really is a question of class and progressivism, but also a lot of New Yorkers are ready for something different in this, and that's why he's getting so much support.
Well, when we come forward, we are switching gears. We've been talking a lot about this election, all eyes on New York City, but the media landscape is shifting before our feet. Some might even say it feels like quicksand. Variety reporting within the hour that Gayle King is expected to depart as CBS Morning's anchor amid the CBS News overhaul. Just yesterday, there were well over 100 folks who were laid off from CBS News, including Michelle Miller, who hosted CBS Saturday Morning. She's also the wife of Mark Morial, the president of the National Urban League. When we come forward, I want to get Madison's take on the shift and what this means for Black media, what this means for Black journalists in turbulent times. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Our communities have been through too much to let our voices be erased now. Prop 50 is how we push back against the rigged maps, the rising costs, and the attacks on our healthcare and our rights. I'm Senator Lola Smallwood-Cuevas. Join me in voting yes on Prop 50 because we deserve to choose who speaks for us. Ad paid for by California for All of Us, supporting Prop 50. McKenna Ballot Measure Committee. Ad committee's top funder. Faith votes yes on 50. Sponsored by LA Voice Action and Progressive Era Issues Committee, supporting yes on 50.
Donald Trump has all but declared war on California, sending in the National Guard, blocking disaster relief, and cutting funds to our colleges. And now, he and Texas Republicans are trying to rig the next election by stealing congressional seats from Black voters in states like Texas.
They want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides.
Seriously, look it up. But Prop 50 is how we fight back. It gives Californians the power to fight fire with fire and beat Trump at his own game. Prop 50 creates temporary emergency congressional maps that level the playing field and protect the power of Black votes. Not just in California, but across the country. Your vote matters, and the whole country is counting on California to lead. So use your vote to protect our power, our history, and our future. Vote yes on Prop 50 by November 4th. Ad paid for by Yes on 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, Governor Newsom's Ballot Measure Committee, Ad Committee's top funders, HMP for Prop 50, and Fund for Policy Reform.
California, this is your moment. The special election is November 4th, and your vote helps decide your future, your community, and your state. Drop your ballot at a secure drop box. Visit an early vote center or mail it. Your participation powers democracy. Every ballot makes a difference. Tell a friend to do the same. Sign up at where'smyballot.sos.ca.gov to track your ballot. Make your voice count. Don't delay. Vote today. A message from the California Secretary of State.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
We face tragedy, but we don't fall into despair. We continue our work to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We're in conversation with Madison Gray, the executive editor of the New York Amsterdam News. Just while we've been on air, Variety reporting that Gayle King is now expected to depart as CBS Mornings anchor amid the CBS News overhaul. We know that Gayle King's existing contract is set to expire in May. There are signs that CBS would like her to stay on board with the news division, potentially with a deal to produce her own programming for the network. But that is not clear at the moment. Negotiations are about to ensue, just as Paramount is cutting ties with dozens of staffers at CBS News and hundreds more across the larger company. We reported yesterday that Michelle Miller, the co-host of CBS Saturday Mornings, has been laid off, as has CBS News contributor Lisa Ling. She has been laid off, among so many others. I've seen some of the social media chatter on this, Madison, suggesting that a number of the people who had the opportunity to stay didn't look like us. And a lot of the people who were let go look Black and brown. What are you hearing from your sources?
Well, I should go full disclosure and everything. I've worked for Paramount myself in two iterations. I once worked at BET just a year and a half ago, and I worked a few years ago for CBS News on the website. I can't tell you now that I'm not in the company anymore anything about the iterations, but I still have friends at the company, and my heart goes out to them because I do know a few people, and I may find out more, who have received layoff notices. I know what it's like to have been let go at that company, and it's not easy, it's not pretty, but it also, what's happening now. I mean, there have been layoffs before over the last couple of years. What's happening now seems to be powered by the Skydance Paramount merger, and we knew sort of at the front that there were going to be major changes in that operation. They brought in Barry Weiss to be the editor there. People say that she leans more right, and that a lot of things may start to go to the right as far as their coverage, decision making, and maybe even who they hire. It also does not surprise me, because this has happened before, that a lot of people, Black people in media, are last hired, first fired, and that's just being real. This seems to be the case here. I'm not going to say that they were fired because they were people of color, but it seems that so many people that I know being shown the door, and I don't see too many people who are not people of color being shown the door. Not that they're not getting laid off, but I see so much of a dispersion here disparity of us being laid off like this. They do seem to be going in a different direction as far as their personnel. I can't talk too much about the situation with Gayle King. There are a lot of people who have decided when a merger took place that they didn't want to be a part of that company anymore voluntarily. They did not like the editorial direction. They did not like the decision making, and this seems to be part of the process going further. What does that mean for Black media? Very good question. I think now's the time that we need to start holding on more steadfastly to Black media in this country. It may come to the point where we see that we all we got. I would say let's start doing more to support Black media. When you support Black media, that means there's more revenue for Black media. That means Black media can put more money and invest in resources so that we can do better jobs. We can do more coverage, and we can bring you the things that you need from your perspective. And you see more people who look like you and who have your voice. To the CBS News situation, Paramount situation, I'm really hoping for the best for everybody who was affected. At the same time, I really think that now is the time to embrace all our Black media and our local media and our media produced by people of color.
I mean, that's a very good point. I mean, we, KBLA Talk 1580, we're the only Black owned and operated talk station west of the Mississippi. Mm-hmm. It was interesting to see when PBS and NPR were defunded by Republicans in Congress. It was interesting to see how philanthropy sort of responded, recognizing that PBS and NPR play a very important role when it comes to helping provide, disseminate news and information that people can trust. Well, I would argue that the tradition of the Black press is just as important. And, we all get to decide how we're going to participate. And so today is a good day for folks who may not be familiar with the New York Amsterdam news. It's a good day to sort of lean in, lock in, subscribe, and support some of the journalism that's coming from there. We always appreciate when people subscribe to our KBLA Talk 1580 app and support all the podcasts associated with us. But it's also worth me noting that in response to Variety's request to comment about Gayle King's future at CBS Mornings, a CBS News spokesperson said, quotes, "There have been no discussions with Gayle about her contract that runs through May 2026. She's truly valued part of CBS, and we look forward to engaging with her about the future." An attorney for Gayle King didn't respond to requests. And so, it's not like we didn't see this coming, right? Mm-hmm. This is not a surprise. Barry Weiss absolutely leans to the right, rose to prominence, as a conservative voice. And she is reshaping CBS News as we know it. And so we're going to continue to keep our eye on this, and we're going to continue to lift up the perspectives of the Black press and beyond as we navigate this moment. In our final moment, Madison, where can people go to tap into the journalism coming out of the New York Amsterdam news?
I'm glad you asked. Visit us at amsterdamnews.com. And also you can visit us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and even on our X page. We're all on social media. We also have a YouTube channel. I want to put in a special shameless plug for our live stream, Election Night. That is going to take place 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock Pacific time, 8 to 11 Eastern time. Host Kevin Powell will lead a panel discussion that's going through the evening that's going to analyze the election, talk about what its implications are for New York City, take a look at the campaign and where it's coming, where it is now, and look at the implications nationwide, because this really is a very important and crucial election for us. So make sure you go to amsterdamnews.com/election night, and you'll be able to see us do our thing.
Our thanks to Madison Gray, executive editor of New York Amsterdam News. Keep producing that journalism, keep producing work that is very much in the tradition of the Black press. You make our ancestors proud. Thank you, Madison.
All right, thank you.
You've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. In our next hour, you don't want to miss Oswald Newbold. He is a certified community conflict mediator. There is a lot of conflict that is afoot in the nation right now and our communities across the country. He's going to offer us some clues and insights on how to navigate it and get to the other side. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Relief flights are landing in Kingston, Montego Bay, and St. Mary. American Airlines sent 2 planes from Miami with supplies and is flying customers off the island.
We're going to need help, cash donations to be able to buy building materials, building supplies.
Jamaica's Consul General says aid was pre-positioned with food for the poor and global empowerment.